members of the class of 2025 from down the street, across the country, and around the world. Around the world, just as it should be.
Welcome back to Way Too Early. Just before 5:30 on the East Coast, 2:30 out west, I'm Ali Vitale, and that was Harvard University's president alluding to the ongoing battle with the Trump administration during a graduation speech yesterday. Meanwhile, a temporary win for Harvard, with a federal judge extending an order, at least for now, that prevents the Trump administration from revoking the school's ability to enroll international students. The university faced off against the Trump administration in a Boston courtroom yesterday. The judge's ruling extends the terms of a restraining order issued last week, allowing the school to continue enrolling foreign students. The Trump administration argued that Harvard's 31% foreign student enrollment rate is putting American students at a disadvantage, while also claiming anti-Semitism at the school. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller reacted to the judge's decision last night.
It's been rightly called the judicial coup, and we are expecting, this issue is now before the Supreme Court, that they will swat down these district courts that have done such violence, such damage to our nation's democracy, and in fact, completely sabotaged our nation's democracy to a degree that we've never seen before.
Now, despite yesterday's ruling, the school's director of immigration services tells the Washington Post that some foreign students are already reporting visa denials and revocations. Joining us now, Republican strategist Matt Gorman. He's a former senior communications advisor for Republican Senator Tim Scott. Also with us, Jonathan Cott. He's a former advisor to Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Chris Coons. So, Matt, you've said that every day the president is fighting Harvard is a good day politically.
Yep.
Why?
Because you're going to, first of all, you're going to be seeing a lot more Trump versus Harvard headlines. Have you already seen them already?
Yeah.
Democrats are already the party in many ways of the higher ed administrator. That's why they lost the 2024 election. They talk like them. And now they're being forced, because Trump is on the other side of it, to defend all of these actions. And so they're trapping them. And it might play well in a bubble in D.C. and New York, but Des Moines, Iowa, Plano, Texas, being against Harvard isn't necessarily a bad thing. So Democrats are kind of like Wile E. Coyote. They're out 5 feet over the cliff. They don't realize it until they're looking down. There's nothing underneath them.
Are you Wiley?
I'm not Wiley. That's right. Democrats shouldn't be defending Harvard. We should let Harvard defend themselves against Trump. But Harvard is doing the right thing. They saw what Columbia did and caved immediately, and that was wrong. They're fighting back. They're going to win this fight because they're right on the merits. And what's going to happen is Trump is going to get tired. He's going to keep losing in courts. He's going to find another shiny object to chase. And at some point, the Supreme Court's going to say, hey, if you want to know where these foreign students are from, call up Marco Rubio. He has all of the information. If he can take a break from the 4 jobs you've given him, he can hand over all of this information. And Trump will get tired, and the Taco Trump meme will come out. He will get angry, and he will pick another fight with somebody else, and we'll move on. But Democrats should not be the ones defending Harvard. We should let Harvard do this all on their own. They have tons of money. They have lobbyists. They have PR teams. They can do this all on their own. Jesus, every top lawyer in the country went to Harvard. Half the Supreme Court went to Harvard. They're fine on their own. Democrats don't need to get into this fight.
Yeah, you bring up Taco Trump. It's why I've been wanting tacos all week. Yep. But it's a phrase based off of his tariff policy, where we've seen the courts once again gumming up the administration's efforts on this. But are there any Republicans who might privately say that's kind of a good thing, because the tariff policy has been whimsical and very unpredictable, much to the chagrin of the markets and Republican lawmakers?
I think no matter what, though, the uncertainty of the markets is what's hurting these negotiations anyway. Even in the best case scenarios we talked about, there's hoping to get negotiations done, but we're seeing now China negotiations stalling. EU is probably the same way, because why would they negotiate if 1 minute the tariffs are going to be on, next minute they're going to be gone? Courts are creating leverage for the opposition party anyway. There's no way you're going to see it.
Well, they're creating leverage just based on their own rulings in the courts, yes, not with political stuff.
Well, but in essence, in actuality. But there's not going to be any pushback on the tariffs. This is part of his agenda. He's been clear on this. You're not going to see any Republican pushback on the Congress on this.
And I think there was a Democratic theory of, well, at some point, the market turmoil will just be so bad that either Trump will have to make a U-turn on this, taco, or someone will have to step in, whether it's the Senate or advisors saying, all right, we can't keep doing this. But it does feel like the markets are starting to factor in the unpredictability. So is that the end of the Democratic plan there? Like, have they presupposed the wrong notion here?
No, I think, look, Treasury Secretary stepped in. He helped. Congress is not going to step in. Republicans have already said, we don't want any part of this. They're not going to step in on tariffs. They have said, we don't want to take the votes on this because they know at some point Donald Trump's not going to be on the ballot, and those senators are going to have to face voters and say, hey, I took this stupid vote and raised prices on you, and Donald Trump's not going to be there to defend me. Mike Crapo has already said, we're not adding this to reconciliation, even though Trump has said this will be billions and billions of dollars. Nope, we don't want any part of this. So I think all of Congress has said, President, this is on you, and Democrats are happy to let him make this fight, watch the markets go up and down. The uncertainty is what's killing him, and he fights it every day back and forth with these crazy tweets and press conferences, and that's what's hurting him. It's the uncertainty, and these other countries see it, and they say, we'll just step back. We'll let you fight this out amongst yourselves and then come to us at a weaker position.
Do you think, Kot, that the step back is also going to be similar on Russian sanctions, specifically this package that has 80 people who are backing it in bipartisan fashion, and yet it's up to Republicans on whether or not it hits the floor?
I think until they see some value in pushing back on Trump, they're not going to put it forward. It's very easy to co-sponsor a bill or say you support a bill when you know you're never going to have to vote for a bill. That's the easiest thing to do in Congress. And there are tons of bills that have 80 co-sponsors in the Senate that will never get a vote. Until they have to take that vote and defy Trump, there'll be 80 for the 4 years of his presidency, and it'll never come up.
Yeah, even as some lawmakers, including Lindsey Graham, write op-eds urging the importance of this kind of a sanctions package against the backdrop of stalemate ceasefire negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. And then the other piece of news this week, Matt, that I think all of us have been waiting for, and now we're finally seeing it come to fruition. We'll see President Trump and Elon Musk do a press conference of sorts in the Oval Office later this afternoon. Even if Musk is gone, Trump is saying he'll always be with us. But politically, isn't that true? There has been a political backlash to Musk and Doge that you can look at in Wisconsin and Florida. Isolated incidents in off years, but still instructive. Republicans, are they concerned about the Musk factor, even though he's gone?
I think Democrats might want Musk to always be with them, but I think trotting out Elon Musk over a year from now in campaign ads is going to be quite a heavy task. I mean, we'll have hopefully a law passed by then. There'll be things that Democrats will certainly try and use. Republicans will try and fight back on that. But I think trying to resurrect Doge in the same way, say, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race did, is going to be very hard for Democrats. Good luck to them. And, of course, the Friday afternoon press conference, a tried and true tactic. You'll see how much it gets coverage. But obviously, look, this was expected. Government employee, his time was up anyway. And I don't think many Republicans are terribly sad to see him go, especially in the cabinet, according to reports. But that being said, he can go back to his companies. It's a good off-ramp for him. And they're giving, as Sophia said earlier, an amicable breakup.
Yeah, amicable breakup. At least that's the vibe that they are presenting, yes. Though all bets are off when we get that Friday press conference, coverage concerns aside.
We are sad to see him go. We would love to keep him around.
Yeah, that's not in any way shocking. Matt Gorman and Jonathan Cott, thank you both for joining us this morning.